Hello everyone, crystal reading for December. So you can see I've got my crystal board here and I'm going to tune in with the intention, see what guidance, what's coming through for our highest good, our path and purpose for this month of December 2020. Okay, so interesting. Dravite comes up right away. Chrysoprase. And what's the third one? Interesting. Pyrite. Okay, so Dravite, which is brown tourmaline. Chrysoprase, a nice piece of rough chrysoprase there. And pyrite, golden pyrite. So this is interesting first and foremost because we've got crystals that resonate really from the heart down into the lower chakras. We've got and also some very kind of earthy, sort of metally tones and very energizing crystals. So we'll start with the Dravite, which is the brown tourmaline. And Dravite is a crystal that resonates very powerfully with the wood element and the earth element. It's very grounding. It helps draw a lot of energy down into the body, down into the root chakra. It's very empowering. It's also a crystal of growth, a crystal of expansion. So let's see what the message is coming through from Dravite. Okay, so first of all, what comes through right away is that it's also a crystal of health and a crystal of substantiation. So for any of you out there who feel like you've really kind of been floating this year, you have felt unmoored, you've had trouble finding your feet, finding your rhythm, getting back into a groove. You know, there's been a lot of upheaval, there's been a lot of transition, there's still a lot of uncertainty. But being able to bring your energy down fully into your body and expand into your own energy field as well as the earth field will help you feel more grounded. It will help you feel more steady, more solid, and more empowered. And part of what's coming through here is that there still is enormous opportunity for growth. There's enormous opportunity for expansion. Maybe you've had a lot of ideas, a lot of desires, a lot of dreams that have been coming through, but then somewhere, once it starts to filter down through the mind, they get dashed. Because the mind says no to this, and the mind says, yeah, but you can't to that. And the mind introduces doubt. And the mind, this was one of my favorites that came through to me today. Well, who are you to do that? You can't do that. Well, of course I can. I could do anything. Look at what I've done thus far. And this is true for everybody. So again, for those of you who have been having trouble feeling grounded, centered, empowered, in moving forward in a direction, this is a month where you can really start to come back into your body, come back into yourself, work on grounding, work with that wood element. I mean, especially going into December in the Northern Hemisphere, a lot of our cultural traditions revolve around wood, revolve around the sacred trees, oak, ash, holly, cedar. So really connecting with that tree energy, no matter where you are in the world, that tree energy of growth, of outliving, outliving times of trouble, of hardship, of tapping into that expansion, that life energy will be very empowering for you this month. So that's the message from Dravite. Now moving on to chrysocolla, and chrysocolla is a crystal that I've been working with a lot in this past month. It was a crystal that came up in terms of the gratitude work that I did for the gratitude project that we did this past month. So it's a crystal of gratitude. It's a crystal of creativity. It's a crystal of good vibes. And the other thing about Chrysoprase is it's an excellent crystal for feelings of insecurity, feelings of uncertainty. Again, it helps you to ground and center, this time in the solar plexus chakra, which is very much a chakra of determination, of willpower, of stamina, of identity, how we identify in the world around us, how we choose to show up in the world around us. The solar plexus chakra is also about ambition and prosperity. So especially, again, for anyone who's been feeling like they've been taking a lot of hits, in that power center, in those areas of our lives, because of course we talk about the chakras in our bodies, but there's also, through our etheric blueprint, there's chakras for our business, there's chakras for our homes, there's chakras for different aspects of our lives. And so usually if we are struggling in one part of our health, our beingness, our mental emotional selves, and that's showing up in terms of imbalance in our chakra, that of course will ripple out through our etheric blueprint into other areas of our lives. So coming into the medicine and the message of Chrysoprase. Chrysoprase is also, it resonates powerfully with the solar plexus chakra, but also with the heart chakra. And Chrysoprase, the message of Chrysoprase is to take heart. It's, so many of us got pulled into, that whirlpool, that vortex of negativity, that just feeds off. And of course, what's been happening in the world has been very scary, and not just in terms of the pandemic and how, destructive that has been to our lives, but also, how our leaders, have responded and the healing responses to the pandemic, which in so many ways have felt incredibly destructive in and of themselves. And so there's been a lot of hits, there's been a lot of insecurity. And so what this thing about taking heart, coming back into the heart, coming back into soothing and nurturing the emotional body, because there are always solutions, there are always ways, there are always ways in which we can adapt. But when we're very, very in fear, when we're very in negativity, when we're very in, a no place, that makes it very difficult. And this is not about making anybody wrong. It's not about that at all. It's about, okay, this is how we're feeling. This is how we're coping. But how do we shift it? How do we come back into our magic? How do we come back into our power? The human race is incredibly inventive, creative, kind, adaptable. How do we shift into all of the positive magic and majesty that we have as people? And individually, but also collectively for our world? Do we continue to cycle down, or do we put a stop to that and look to shift it and look to get back into vibing with the healing, with the light, with the love, finding ways of joy? And again, through that gratitude frequency, through creative thinking. So even if, to start off your creative flow of energy, you've got to get into the coloring books or the crafts or whatever it might be. But taking heart and coming back into that heart energy is very possible, especially with this month, the way the energy, with the way the frequencies are flowing. There's still a lot to fight for. There's still a lot to talk about. There's still a lot to work on. But there's an increasing need for all of that to be infused with some lighter energy, some joy energy, some loving energy. So even that simple question, what is one loving thing that I can do for myself today? What is one thing I can do to bring joy to someone else or to the world? And really, truly embodying that and seeking to live from that frequency. And so that's the message from Chrysoprase. And now coming into pyrite, which, again, very solar plexus, sacral, root chakra, stone, crystal, metal to work with. And this is a very active energy. Pyrite is very young. It's very divine masculine. It's very much about getting up, getting out, and doing something. Now, of course, again, in our world situation right now, that's not necessarily, physically the most possible thing for us to do. So let's see what pyrite has to say in terms of guidance for this month that can be of service. Okay, so it's interesting. It's tying in with the Dravite, which is about grounding, which is about growth, which is about empowerment, which is coming back fully into our bodies, our sense of possibility. Then we've got Chrysoprase, which is very much about coming back into the heart, coming back into the heart energy. No matter what you're facing, what can you find that you can be grateful for in this moment? What can you find that you can be loving about or joyful about in this moment? And how can you nurture and build that energy inside of you? Because it feels so much better. And then again, that ripples outward through your etheric blueprint. So now the pyrite is saying it's about anchoring and structuring and containing all of that. We need to come back to a sense of structure that is supportive for ourselves. For a lot of people, their routines, again, their rhythms just went out the window this past year. The way they structured their days, the way they took care of themselves, the way they took care of others, so much of that had to shift. And so what it's saying is it's coming back to these important key things, these frequencies, these energies that are really, growing in this month. How can we structure that in? Look at your daily life. What is the best, the highest, the most joyful, the most, oh gosh, what's the word? It's not, I want to use profitable, but I don't mean in terms of money, but in terms of profitable, in terms of what is the most beneficial way that you can structure your day, that you can structure your projects, your activities, really coming back to that and putting things like, what can I do that's good for my body? What can I do that helps to nourish a sense of joy or gratitude? What can I do, that one thing that really benefits my business today or really benefits my job, my career, my vocation? What's one thing I can do to increase the prosperity vibe, an abundance vibe in my home, in my life, in myself, whether it's watering and nurturing a plant, whether it's taking 10 minutes to visualize something positive and wonderful happening for you, happening for the earth. Because of course, again, it's always microcosm, macrocosm. Whatever is going on inside of us, whatever energy is inside of us, it ripples outward and it affects the world, and vice versa. We're constantly in this co-relative and co-creative relationship, but very much coming back to this idea of structure, and not structure in terms of limitation, not structure in terms of how many things can you fit into your day from the to-do list and what you should be doing, but structured support so that we feel more held, so that we feel more cared for, so that we feel that we're engaging in our daily lives in a way that is mindful, that is purposeful, that is intentional, and that again is coming to that vision of the highest. What is the highest good for myself, for my family, for my community, for my world? How can I engage in that? How can I create a daily life for myself that, consistently builds up good energy for all those with whom I touch or I am engaged with in some way. So that's the message from Pyrite. So that's the reading for this month. The reading for this month seems really, to bring it, down to brass tacks. It seems like coming back down to brass tacks. Taking care of our bodies, making sure that we're grounded, tuning in with those high positive frequencies that can be of service to us, and then looking at how we're living our daily lives, and are there changes that we can make? Are there positive, structures of support that we can put in? So that's the guidance for this month, to really kind of, I think, ultimately bring us back into alignment and tuned into some higher frequencies. So I hope that reading was of service to you. If you want to learn how to do these readings, I do have a Pro Crystal Reader certification course. You can read about it more on my website online. You can train in learning how to do these readings and become certified, do them for others if you choose. And I'm also going to be opening up my booking calendar second week of December, doing channeled crystal readings for anyone who might be interested in hearing what's coming up for them in 2021, and how best to navigate the energies of the year. And so that link will be in the description for this video next week, and you can also go to my website, krista-mitchell.com, for more info. So please take care of yourselves. Keep that higher perspective and see how you can filter it down into your lives. And I will be back with a crystal reading soon, most likely for January. Stay tuned.